Hi, it's Vernon again. What if I told you that everything you think you know about dating is completely wrong after 60? The couples who found deep, lasting love after 60 weren't following the dating rules we learned in our youth. They were playing an entirely different game. Today, we're going to explore 5 rules that turn traditional dating advice upside down, specifically for those over 60. By the end of this conversation, you'll begin to see dating after 60 not as a consolation prize, but as a powerful advantage you may have never realized before. Ready to discover a whole new way of thinking about dating after 60? Hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss these valuable insights. Plus, save this video to revisit it whenever you need a reminder of the incredible possibilities that await. So settle in, because what we're about to discover together might just change how you think about love in the second half of life. Are you ready to learn the rules that actually work? Let's dive in.
Rule 1. The authenticity advantage. There's something my friend Robert discovered at 61 that completely transformed his dating life. After his divorce, he spent months trying to present himself as younger, more energetic, more like someone he wasn't. He dyed his gray hair, claimed to love hiking when he preferred reading, and even bought clothes that made him uncomfortable. The result? A string of disappointing dates with women who liked someone who didn't actually exist. Then something shifted. Robert decided to show up as exactly who he was, a thoughtful man who loved classical music, preferred quiet conversations over loud restaurants, and yes, had gray hair that told the story of his years. The transformation was remarkable. Within 3 months, he met Linda, a woman who was equally tired of pretending to be someone else. But at our age, we've learned the inverse truth. When we embrace exactly who we are, we become irresistible to the right person. Research from the University of Rochester shows that authentic self-presentation leads to higher relationship satisfaction and longer-lasting partnerships. But here's what's fascinating. This effect is strongest in people over 60. Why? Because we've finally lived long enough to know the difference between our authentic selves and the masks we wore to please others. The key insight here is this. In your 20s, you're still discovering who you are. In your 30s and 40s, you're often hiding parts of yourself to fit in. But after 60, you've earned the right to be completely, unapologetically yourself. And that authenticity, that refusal to pretend, is magnetic in ways that youth and beauty never could be. Think about it this way. When you meet someone new at this stage in life, it's not like you're trying to fit into a mold or grow into a role that doesn't truly represent who you are. Instead, you're bringing your full, rich self into the conversation. Someone who has lived through decades of experiences, learned from successes and failures, and developed a clear sense of what truly matters. This is your competitive advantage. You no longer need to prove who you are or what you're capable of. You're offering your authentic self with a deep understanding of your own desires, boundaries, and values. In the world of dating after 60, this kind of self-assurance and clarity is something that younger individuals often lack. So, rather than seeing it as a disadvantage, think of it as your greatest strength, something that will help you attract a partner who genuinely appreciates the real you. Have you been hiding parts of yourself because you think they're not dateable? What if those very qualities are exactly what the right person is looking for? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Share your experiences in the comments below. We've talked about the power of embracing your authentic self. Let's move on to another crucial rule for dating after 60.
Rule 2. The patience paradox. Now, you might think that at our age, we should be in a hurry. After all, we don't have decades stretching ahead of us like we once did. But here's where conventional wisdom gets it completely backward, and where the second rule reveals itself. The less time you have, the more patient you should be. My sister Eleanor learned this lesson the hard way. At 59, fresh from her divorce, she felt this crushing urgency to find someone quickly. She was saying yes to every coffee date, every setup, every online match. She was treating dating like a race against time. The result? 6 months of exhausting encounters that left her feeling more alone than ever. Then she had what she calls her light bulb moment. She realized she was acting like she was desperate, when in reality, she was selective. She had spent decades learning what she wanted and didn't want. Why was she throwing away that hard-earned wisdom in favor of speed? The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus taught that patience is not the ability to wait, but the ability to keep a good attitude while waiting. But there's a deeper layer to this wisdom when it comes to dating after 60. Patience isn't just about waiting for the right person, it's about having the confidence to wait for the right person. Here's what researchers at Harvard found in their study of late-life relationships. Couples who took longer to become intimate, who spent more time in the friendship phase, reported significantly higher relationship satisfaction after 5 years. The sweet spot? An average of 8 months from meeting to becoming romantically committed. This connects to something profound about dating after 60. We're not looking for someone to complete us. We're looking for someone to complement us. And that requires a different kind of evaluation process. You're not just asking, do I feel butterflies? You're asking, do our lives fit together? Do our values align? Can we grow old together with grace? At 25, you fell in love with how someone made you feel. At 68, you fell in love with how someone made you think, how they made you laugh, how they made you want to be better. That takes time to discover. When you rush, you're operating from fear. Fear of being alone, fear of missing out, fear of time running out. But when you exercise patience, you're operating from wisdom. Wisdom about what really matters. Wisdom about what makes relationships last. Wisdom about your own worth. Building on the authenticity we discussed earlier, patience gives that authenticity room to breathe. It allows both of you to drop your guard gradually, to reveal yourselves layer by layer, to build trust slowly and solidly. Having discussed the importance of patience in navigating relationships after 60, let's now turn our focus to a concept that might seem surprising: the strength that comes with vulnerability. Embracing vulnerability is not a weakness, it's actually a powerful asset in building deeper, more meaningful connections.
Rule 3. The vulnerability strength. When we explore how authenticity and patience create the foundation for meaningful connection, we encounter something that might surprise you. Vulnerability becomes your superpower after 60. I remember sitting with my friend Catherine, 66, as she shared her fears about dating again. She told me how, at 66, she felt far removed from the woman she was at 30. She's got scars, both literal and metaphorical. She had faced a cancer scare, a messy divorce, and the loss of her mother. She had raised children, buried dreams, and rebuilt her life countless times. And, In her words, she wondered who would want to hear about all that baggage. But here's what Catherine discovered, and what research from Dr. Brené Brown's work on vulnerability confirms. What we often call baggage is actually evidence of our capacity to survive, adapt, and grow. At 60 plus, our scars tell stories of resilience, not failure. Consider this. When you were younger, you might have hidden your struggles, your failures, your moments of doubt. But now, those experiences have become wisdom. They've taught you empathy, resilience, and the ability to support others through their own challenges. This vulnerability strength ties directly to our earlier discussions about authenticity and patience. When you're authentically yourself, you naturally reveal your vulnerabilities. When you're patient, you give yourself time to share these deeper parts of your story appropriately. Vulnerability strength isn't about dumping your life story on someone or treating your dates like therapy sessions. Instead, it's about having the courage to embrace and share the parts of yourself that have been shaped by your experiences. It's acknowledging that you've lived a rich, complex life filled with both triumphs and challenges, and that these experiences have made you the unique, resilient person you are today. When you can be open about your journey, it shows confidence in who you are, and it invites others to see the depth and authenticity of the person behind the story. Vulnerability isn't a weakness. It's a powerful tool that allows true connections to form. Think of it this way. At 20, you might have been a blank canvas, lots of potential, but not much story. At 60 plus, you're a masterpiece, rich, complex, full of depth and meaning. The question isn't whether someone will love your story, it's whether they're sophisticated enough to appreciate it. Reflecting on what we've covered so far, the power of authenticity, the wisdom of patience, and now the strength found in vulnerability, we're beginning to see a pattern. Dating success after 60 isn't about pretending to be younger or simpler. It's about embracing the full richness of who you've become. As we reflect on the value of embracing vulnerability, we naturally transition into the fourth rule of dating after 60, the wisdom of slow love. This is where the pace of relationships shifts, and we begin to understand that love doesn't need to be rushed to be meaningful. Let's explore how slowing down the process can lead to the most fulfilling, lasting relationships.
Rule 4. The wisdom of slow love. In your 60s and beyond, you've lived long enough to recognize that love isn't about instant chemistry or quick fixes. It's about building a meaningful connection that is grounded in trust, shared values, and mutual respect. Slow love means taking the time to truly understand each other's desires, quirks, and backgrounds. It's about creating a solid foundation where emotional intimacy has the space to flourish. Relationships built on slow love are not dependent on fleeting moments of excitement, but rather on the depth that develops when two people can take their time, savoring every stage of connection. This approach to love is particularly powerful because it allows for growth and flexibility. You're not just investing in the present moment, but in a future where you both continue to evolve and share your experiences. Let me explain what I mean by slow love, because it builds beautifully on everything we've discussed about authenticity, patience, and vulnerability. Slow love is like a good wine. It develops complexity over time, reveals new layers with each taste, and becomes more valuable with age. It's the opposite of the intense, combustible passion of youth. Instead, it's the steady, warming fire that sustains you through the seasons of life.
Slow love, therefore, isn't about waiting indefinitely. It's about recognizing that the most meaningful relationships take time to nurture, and that time spent building something authentic is always time well spent. This wisdom of slow love connects to our earlier discussion about patience, but it goes deeper. It's not just about taking time to evaluate a potential partner. It's about understanding that the best relationships at our age grow from friendship, shared values, and mutual respect, rather than immediate attraction. Here's what's fascinating. Younger people often mistake this for settling or practical love, but it's actually the opposite. It's love informed by experience, love that understands what really matters, love that knows the difference between infatuation and genuine compatibility. The beauty of slow love is that it allows all those qualities we've discussed, authenticity, patience, and vulnerability, to unfold naturally. You don't have to rush to impress or worry about maintaining a facade. You can simply be yourself and let love grow organically. This doesn't mean slow love is passionless. Quite the contrary. It means the passion is built on a foundation of deep knowing and genuine appreciation. It's the difference between a flash fire and a hearth fire. One burns bright and fast, the other warms your home for years. How would shifting your focus from immediate chemistry to deep compatibility change how you approach dating? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. We begin to see that true connection isn't just about chemistry or passion. It's about building something lasting and meaningful. Let's move on to the final principle that ties everything together.
Rule 5. The legacy connection. By the time we reach our 60s and beyond, many of us begin to realize that love isn't just about the present moment. It's about creating a lasting legacy. The idea of a legacy connection is rooted in the desire to build something that transcends the individual, something that will endure beyond the years we have left. A legacy connection isn't just about sharing memories or passing down material wealth. It's about creating a deep emotional bond that leaves a lasting impact on both people and the wider circle of loved ones. This kind of connection is built on shared values, mutual respect, and the knowledge that the love you cultivate now has the potential to shape future generations. Joyce and I, at over 60 respectively, what drew us together wasn't just attraction or even compatibility. It was a shared understanding of what they wanted their remaining years to represent. We both had grown children, established careers behind them, and a deep desire to leave something meaningful behind. The ancient Roman philosopher Cicero wrote, "The life of the dead is placed in the memory of the living." But at our age, we understand this from both sides. We carry the memories of those we've loved and lost, and we're acutely aware of the legacy we're creating for those who will remember us. This awareness transforms how we approach relationships. We're not just asking, do I enjoy this person's company? We're asking deeper questions. Do we share a vision for how we want to spend our remaining years? Do we want to build something together that will outlast us both? Joyce and I discovered we both wanted to travel, but not just for pleasure. We wanted to volunteer internationally, to use our skills and experience to help others.
We spent our first year together not just falling in love, but planning how we could make a difference together. This legacy connection builds on everything we've discussed. It requires the authenticity to be honest about what truly matters to you, the patience to find someone who shares those values, the vulnerability to admit that you want your life to have meaning beyond yourself, and the wisdom to choose slow love built on shared purpose. What's remarkable is this legacy connection doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. The legacy connection asks us to think beyond ourselves, even beyond our relationship, to consider how our partnership can contribute to something larger. It might be mentoring younger couples, creating art together, preserving family history, supporting causes you care about, or simply modeling what a loving, respectful partnership looks like for your children and grandchildren. This perspective transforms dating from a potentially self-centered activity into something much more meaningful. You're not just looking for someone to keep you company. You're looking for a partner on purpose, someone with whom you can write the final chapters of your life story.
Conclusion. We've learned that dating success after 60 isn't about trying to recapture your youth or following the same rules that worked decades ago. Instead, it's about embracing 5 surprising truths: the power of your authentic self, the wisdom of patience, the strength found in vulnerability, the beauty of slow love, and the meaning that comes from legacy connection. The playwright George Bernard Shaw once said, "We don't stop playing because we grow old. We grow old because we stop playing." But I would add this: we don't stop loving because we grow older. We learn to love more deeply because we've grown wiser. Some of the most beautiful love stories begin not with the passionate intensity of youth, but with the patient wisdom of experience. Your story isn't over. It's just entering its most interesting chapters. The person you've become through all your experiences, the scars, the victories, the lessons learned, isn't damaged goods. You're a masterpiece in progress, and the right person will see that immediately. Thank you for joining me today. If this conversation has given you something to think about, you can comment anything. I will read each one. Don't hesitate to like, share, and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on future insights that can help you build meaningful connections. Sometimes the most important conversations are the ones we have with each other.